Way is our tried and tested way of working inclusively with people of all ages and abilities, particularly those with learning disabilities and autism. We piloted a training program for creative practitioners to learn our way of working and to develop their practice in working inclusively, democratically, and co-creating, truly co-creating. This included workshops with our partner organisations where they also learn our methodologies and we learn theirs. And then the practitioners were divided into small mini companies where they explored well-being as a theme, using well-being cards that we've been developing as part of the project. And then we brought all of the small co-creative companies together for a sharing event where we looked at how the work had been made, the learnings that had happened, and also the wonderful work that we shared.
Do we want to make getting Tom ready part of the piece?
Yeah, that would be easier.
I agree.
He's the king.
Yeah.
So he should be in the middle.
Yeah,
Cool.
yes. Shall we try it?
Let's do it. Let's do what she said. Keep it going.
From the beginning. What I thought I would learn was kind of techniques and methodologies to work with learning disabled communities. But actually it was much more holistic than that. Learning how to work with the individual artists that are in HUBBUB, learning how to communicate individually with the people in the ensemble. So what else are our options? What have we got left to do?
I really love the co-creation process, and it was just great. The group worked together amazingly well, and myself and Lucy sort of took in ideas, took in props sometimes, and then the group just went with that and took it off in a different direction.
That's my dream. Yeah.
Lovely.
Creative enabling is essentially existing on the sort of edgelands of the group, and it's about enabling access to the group, so making sure that in those moments where any of the participants have a wobble or they have a moment or they just have a very sort of moment of human crisis, it's about being there to catch them, provide well-being support and get them back into the space, because the facilitators are the ones holding that space to keep things going, whereas a creative enabler is essentially, we're almost like, if you imagine it's like Wimbledon, do you know what I mean? We're like the ball boy running, fixing it, and we keep the match going. It's a bizarre analogy, but I'll stick with it.
Like that.
And are we in agreement that we are waking up from being in our slubbub for 200 years?
The audience are there.
Yeah.
You're facing...
Barrett was there. I was there.
Yes.
Because a lot of my work has been very much music-based, having to throw myself into the movement-based stuff was quite challenging, actually. Yeah, it was quite challenging. I was very out of my comfort zone in that respect.
Yes, I have learned practical exercises, but also I've learned a lot about communication. I'm used to working with non-disabled neurotypical actors in a professional setting, and I've really learned that, maybe I over-explain, maybe I overcomplicate. I have historically not wanted to demonstrate the activity with my own body, but actually in this context, sometimes a physical demonstration is really useful. It's all about building a relationship with the individual and figuring out, what do they need? What do they want? We need someone to become a tree first.
Yeah.
So I think the main challenges for me were knowing when to trust yourself and your own judgment. I think sometimes the responsibility of people's well-being can be quite a lot. It's about becoming familiar with the language and the terminology in that world and trusting your own judgment. And that's something I feel that I've really learnt to understand now at the end. But of course, to have that wonderful achievement, you need to have had that challenging journey, but worth every moment, really.
We are now going to start to rehearse. It was hugely illuminating, but it was a challenging process. I think I spent the first 3 months not knowing that I was learning just by coming and being present. And that was a challenge for me, of someone who is a planner and a thinker, and I wanted to come in and go, right, I'm going to learn this, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to tick it off. And it wasn't like that. It was much more kind of on the job, absorbing information. Who turns into Blown by the Wind second?
Amy.
Me.
It's changed my practice irrevocably. The way that I approach mental health, the way that I approach different kind of cognitive processes in the people that I'm working with. And I've taken that into the students that I teach at drama school, the professional casts that I work with. In that moment, when we are all moving, blown by the wind, Rob, you must stop and become a tree.
Okay.
You're the first one to do it.
I think for me, during this process, you can take on a lot in terms of the weight and responsibility of other people. And I kind of sat down one day and I thought, how will I know that I'm doing my job well? And I kind of summed it up to myself that if everyone in this room is able to talk to me, confide in me, and if I'm able to get them participating, that's enough. In terms of the creative output and all those things, that's what the facilitators are there for. My job is to make sure everyone's happy and well and supported. And I think when I understood that, that helped me understand the limitations of my job in a good way, because with this kind of work, you can and will take on too much, because it's the kind of person that you have to be in this world, is you have to be very giving. But sometimes to be giving, you need to know when to stop giving, because you won't have anything left to give when you need to give it. And I think that was a real journey.
1, 2, 3.
You have to be a certain type of person who is willing to sort of let go of the control a little bit and be willing to go with the flow. And that was certainly a learning curve for me. Breathe in.
For me, it's completely changed my practice in a way that I never imagined. So I really have a different understanding of what access is, and that's permeated across all of my practice, particularly because I work with a lot of young people and children outside of HUBBUB. Understanding that has actually enabled me to get a lot more work, and also I'm working extensively with HUBBUB as well. I'm now moving into the co-facilitator role, so there's a sense of growth within the company itself. And I think HUBBUB has a really unique way of running and operating and working with practitioners, and it's just such a beautiful way to spend your time.
I put a spell on you.
I thought it was brilliant, really enjoyed it. Love the fact that I was working with creative practitioners who do something different to what I do.
Stuff that you learn during the HUBBUB Way training is stuff that will change your life, will change your practice and change the way that you think about everything.
The main take takeaway from this whole pilot project for me was the breaking down of barriers in terms of understanding the world of learning disabled adults, because I think it's a world that I always felt slightly alienated from. I was maybe quite overwhelmed by the language and the terminology, and coming in through HUBBUB broke down those barriers and made me understand that I can understand this world, and more than that is people within it want me to be part of it. And I've never felt more welcome than I have done here at HUBBUB, and I think that it's really changed the way I understand the world as a whole. And I think that anybody working in theatre, whatever capacity, should get involved in a project like this, particularly in that creative enabler role. You don't necessarily have to want to be a facilitator, though that's my journey. If you want to be a producer or anything, it's just a way to experience the room and you can still participate, but you're on that kind of peripheral, and that is a really beautiful place to be. Honestly, just couldn't recommend it enough.
What did I think? I really enjoyed those performances. I found them really engaging. I found them very funny, and I really loved the movement and how that everybody was in it together, and it was super collaborative. And even when there were like shifts of leadership within the movement and stuff, the leadership changed and stuff, and I really enjoyed that.
Well, I always enjoy coming to these do's, you know, but the thing is, I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised about the quality of it and the confidence that the students have grown into, you know, and now I've got a son who is actually a king. I thought the show was great, really enjoyed it.
Being a father of somebody with autism and learning disability, they can be very socially isolated, and this provides them a really good opportunity to do things with other people in a safe environment, and there obviously seems a lot of good, strong friendship between the staff and the people who come to do the acting and drama and things. So yeah, very good.
The inclusion and the happiness between them all, it's super, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I think it's brilliant how they're all able to work together and remember what they're supposed to be doing and all of that. And that's because of the HUBBUB Way, because they're all so included and their needs are all met. And, you know, it's brilliant. It's really good.
Well, I think the leadership, the professionalism and the quality of the leadership speaks for itself. You know, I don't think if you've got students who have got that desire to improve and to do something meaningful and just get that leadership, then you're going to get success. And you're seeing success. Every show that they do is a success, and probably you could say it gets better and better. I think they're great, really great.